It does not seem likely. It does not seem likely. Let me see if this gentleman, JRN, what's going on, buddy? JRN, are you there? Send you a request to unmute.
Can you hear me?
I can. Good morning. How are you?
How you doing?
Fantastic.
So many things. I don't even know where to begin. It's like you go to sleep and then you wake up and there's like 5 other stories going on.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that really concerns me, I'm 68 years old.
Okay.
So with the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
I remember protests with segregation. I remember the protests with the Vietnam War. I also was an educator for 40 years. So I'm looking at this, everything. I mean, I'm looking at the dismantlement of the education,
Right.
what that's going to do. I worked in an urban district. We had students who always scored, the majority of them scored below level. Because of federal funding, which was called Title I at the time,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
urban areas were given federal funds to get extra teachers brought in under Title I grants and programs.
Yeah, we still have
Districts,
Title I schools.
well, if this whole education dismantling goes through, all that federal fund is going to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm concerned about that. I mean, we got kids that finally felt successful and started really feeling like they were beneficial and weren't the outcasts in the classroom, feeling success. We're going to send them back.
They got food to eat for breakfast and lunch,
Exactly.
so they weren't starving.
Exactly.
Because you can't
What?
you can't learn anything. You know what I'm saying? When like your stomach's rumbling. You know what I mean?
No, we had the breakfast program for the kids and stuff like that. Now, some people said, "Oh, that was ridiculous. It's the parents' responsibility." Well, if you haven't grown up in a situation where things are tough, you can't relate to it. So the schools stepped up to the plate and made sure needs were met. They had in-school clinics. I
The
mean,
kids that they want people to have so badly.
yeah, exactly. But my biggest issue right now is, and maybe you can help explain this to me because I try to wrap my head around it 7 ways to Sunday, and I still
I'm
can't.
not even going to pretend to know that I think or they act like I know what the fuck is going on.
I mean,
Like
why?
most mornings, I'm trying to figure out how I even got up again.
I mean, Congress, first of all, I am so disappointed in the Democrats because if the shoe was on the other foot, we would have had outbreaks all over the place the day after the election.
Oh yeah.
I'm not insinuating riots like they did, which was asinine, but standing up for their rights, being vocal. I mean, they're all so concerned about their political careers on both parties. Don't they realize that a lot of Americans, I mean, he's bombarding us with so much stuff that these people that are supposedly our representatives, hopefully if America has woken up since November 5th and realized all the lying that they were given, if they don't wake up and stand up.
But JR, you know what's the crazy part is? The vast majority of the people waking up are like people in your age demographic. Retirees, veterans, people that are on Social Security, Medicaid, so on and so forth. It's those people that are showing up to these town halls and, you know what I'm saying, like giving the representatives hell. It's not people in my age demographic. It's not Gen Xers. It's not, you know what I'm saying, like millennials. It's not people in my age demographic. Is you know, the people, baby boomers and so on. But here's the sad part though, right? It's like the baby boomers had all of these years to figure it out.
Well, I mean, I have a daughter that's 35 and she really was never political. I mean, not involved in stuff, but since Trump's come in, the questions that she's asking and the knowledge that she's trying to accumulate now, I'm really pleased with because I I think she hears me and realizes, hey, you know what? you're 35 now, but years go by really fast. And
Mm-hmm.
now you have money in 401s, and you have annuities and all these other things
Right.
that are going to be taking a big hit. Pensions are gone. The
Oh
days
yes.
of when I
Yes.
worked with pensions, those are gone. So people have to focus in on what they're saving, and if that gets destroyed when they get to be my age, they're not going to have a whole lot to survive on.
Mm-hmm.
You have Medicare, you have Medicaid, Social Security, and I understand he throws all these things out. It's got to be up to Congress to decide. The thing that I don't understand is, why aren't people? I know we can't do much with him right now, but Musk was not an elected official. Everyone should be blasting their Congress, their Senate, and saying, why is that guy in there? Nobody voted for him. He has no business to be in our business, taking our personal and confidential information.
Right.
He needs to go. And I think that's where the revolt needs to come in, is that guy needs to get the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are seeing it though. I mean, I was in Charleston, our capital, but it didn't even get local news coverage.
Well, that's the thing, because they're all afraid. And my thing, I mean, as well as I do, numbers speak. So if you have everyone who feels the way we do, and I'm on a lot of these lives, and there's a lot more that feel the way we do than what we really think. I mean, you have the other ones that are the T supporters and all that, but I think a lot of people, and you see in the town halls, especially in these red states don't realize they just got over 400 people from the National Weather Service. We're approaching tornado season.
Right.
They get hit one after another. They're not going to get any aid. The hurricanes have gotten worse. Who got hit? The South. So everyone that backed Trump and all his cronies up, they're going to get clobbered this spring and summer with tornadoes and hurricanes, and they're not going to have any funding whatsoever to rebuild. So if that doesn't
We're
wake
on
those people
fire
up,
in March.
well, that's right. Yes, the fire down in Carolina. Absolutely.
March.
Yes. So what is it going to take for these people to step up and say, okay, we totally screwed up, and we're going to pay the price because we're in the area that's the bullseye for tornadoes and hurricanes?
Right.
I don't know if you heard my comments, but I'm in West Virginia, and even at the state delegate level to our House, I think every single seat that was up went red except for 4. We don't have a supermajority. I mean, we're like dust.
But do you think in 2026, and I mean, I know it's not, it seems far away, but it's not going to be far away, because people are going to have to already start, campaigning and things like that, by next fall, because it's only going to be a year away. Do you think if things continue that maybe it's like somebody's going to get hit over the head and say, wait a minute, if I don't wake up and do something, I'm not going to have a country left, and I'm not going to have my benefits left? I mean, what do you think it's going to take to get these people to wake up? It's happening right in front of their faces right now.
Well, I don't know, because you're seeing these farmers in Nebraska, which is going bankrupt. You're seeing these flood victims in southern West Virginia. I almost guarantee you, if a Republican comes in sweet talking, they're going to stay red. I mean, it's going to take a depression level event for us to go and get a majority, even a supermajority in the House or the Senate, where we can finally, and we need to lean further left.
Sorry, could I interject for a second?
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, I was really quiet because I've never been on the TikTok live this big, so I'm a little bit nervous. But I feel as though, at least for me, a lot of us kind of underestimate how cultish MAGA are.
I don't think so. I think no. I think everybody knows.
Or maybe I did, because I was in a TikTok live earlier, and I'm American, I'm a citizen, but I live in Canada, and so I kind of I like to be aware of things, and I like to be involved in politics. I watch Mr. Jones a lot, I watch Dean, I watch Parker, but I also do my own research as well. And so I don't know why, in my mind, I thought that Trump going into a trade war with his ally, one of America's allies, would really wake people up and be like, okay, this is like not cool. But there was TikTok.
One would think, right? Like one would be like, yeah, this is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, but I came across a TikTok live. It was a debate live, and basically I had to 9v1 MAGA cultists. It was really easy though, because they kind of didn't really have any points. And all they could do is kind of do ad hominems and mute me and stuff like that.
Yeah, they love to tell you how stupid you are, while simultaneously barely knowing how to read.
Literally, and they were like, "Oh, haha, you're in Canada, bro." Like, ha ha ha. Dude, I'm an American citizen. What are you talking about? I'm a registered Democrat. But yeah, like one thing that kind of caught me off guard though was that one of them were advocating, because like they like to believe that America is so self-sustaining, and there was they tried to say that Canada tried to impose tariffs first or whatever the case may be. Literally not true. The tariffs were retaliatory. They were implemented right after Trump implemented them. So it was those things were really easy to debate. But one person commented, they called for America, the U.S. leaving NATO.
That's what I was talking about. That's what you know what I'm saying. Like, that was the original point of, you know what I'm saying, the things that I was saying. I don't
I've
think that
never
people
heard of
understand the implications of us leaving NATO. I don't
They're
think people
complacent about NATO because NATO worked.
Well, so a lot of people unfortunately watch this fucking buffoon, this rusty tool at the bottom of a tool bag that you would never use. You don't even remember what the fuck the tool is for. It's one of those tools. Like, I don't even remember what the fuck you do with this shit. His name is Older Millennial,
Ugh, he was on last night.
and they watch him, and then he tells them, oh yeah, NATO needs us. We don't need NATO. And then he puts up his stupid little pie chart. And he's like, you see how much money we spend compared to all the other countries? Yeah, because our GDP is like 11 fucking times theirs. Obviously, you don't know how fucking NATO works. Like, you pay a percentage of your GDP. They're paying their percentage. We're paying ours, right? But he doesn't get that because he's not smart. But people think that he's like some fucking savant or some sort, which is ridiculous. But yeah, he's telling people, he's making videos telling these other buffoons, it's blind leading the blind. It's a 5-year-old, you know what I'm saying, in front of a bunch of, you ever seen that cartoon, Rugrats? I never really watched it, but it's like one toddler telling the rest of the toddlers how the world works.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know if you've looked at my profile, but I'm a former CFO, and our company did very, very well. I mean, I retired at 40, which is, I'm so happy to help you guys. But I ran some analytics the other day, and I'm not a big fan of GDP as an indicator.
Agreed.
But I did some analytics on income, and I took the data, and it was like 76K is our income. That's the number that everybody say we're doing so good. Then I tracked only the top 1,000 people out of that number. And it dropped to 34.5. 1,000 people. Think of that. 1,000 people. And it was cut in half. That's our spending power as a country. And it's not good.
The NATO thing really caught me off guard because I know it's like a horrible idea, but I couldn't even begin to create an argument against it because it was like I'd never heard anyone calling for it. Yeah, I've never heard it.
Like, that would be the easiest thing to combat ever. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so NATO was established specifically, right, to combat countries such as Russia. Right? From another uprising of a fascist Germany or a fascist Italy. It was created for that very purpose, so that we would never allow another dictator to go on a global campaign. Right? And so the agreement was that everybody would, pay a certain percentage of their GDP. Now, at that time, we were literally just coming out of the Great Depression. Like, we were just recovering and starting to, build our middle class and things of that nature. So I wouldn't say the GDPs were similar, but they were much closer then than they are now.
But you know what?
Because we weren't the global superpower we are now. But here's the gist of it all, right? We are the global reserve currency. Almost all trade, all commodities, all oil is traded according to the U.S. dollar. The reason that we're able to keep that is because we are the safe place. We're like the stable country, right? But if we're no longer the safe place and we're no longer the stable country, then why would they keep us as the global reserve currency? Especially when they have countries like China out there saying, hey, listen, we just bought a whole bunch of land in Africa that we're
to that end, too, I think last year was the first time China bought a big batch of oil from Kuwait, and they paid in yuan and not U.S. dollars.
Mm-hmm. And then they're like, we've made deals with Mexico, other countries in Central America, Brazil, Venezuela, Cuba, like I said, multiple countries in the continent of Africa. We can all, so China's paved the way. China's terraforming fucking islands. China's like, hey, we can circumvent the United States. We don't need them.
But I want to piggyback on that.
Well, hold on, let me lay my plane really quick. So China's out there currently courting European nations. At this moment, like as we're having this conversation, they're courting European nations, right? So say we leave NATO and we lose the reserve currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our dollar's worth jack all. Like, fuck all. It's worth nothing now. And it doesn't matter how big our military is, because we already spent $800 billion on our military. We'd have to spend nearly 3 times that amount in order to have the global presence that we have. And the reason that we have the global presence that we have is because we have joint effort bases all across the globe because of NATO. We only spend $800 billion because of NATO, because otherwise it'd be like $3 trillion of our budget to have the same global presence that we have.
I feel like we're so caught up with this younger generation, and I feel bad for them because they've never known a political environment without Trump in it. Mm-hmm. So they don't know what policy discourse is. They don't realize the value of having allies, because we've always been the big mouth in the room. Mm-hmm. But not forcing European nations to pay what they quote unquote owe was by design. We wanted to be the superpower. And we weren't out there cracking the whip saying, hey, I raised that contribution to your military, because we wanted to be the world's dominant force. And when we said what we said, we wanted to make sure that they toe the line.
The main thing I was going to say, going along with that, is to protect the whole United States. So when you think about they want to dismantle NATO, But then, which makes absolutely no sense to me, is pull out of the